Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is October 9th, 2025, and there's a lot of psychological capitulation, a lot of despair in the cryptocurrency markets today. And this is why this particular episode is very important, all right? I want to regain perspective to show you exactly where we are, because sometimes you've been doing something for so long you forget what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? This episode is to regain perspective. Of course, we're going to look at Bitcoin as per usual, but this episode I really want to focus on why I have not quit on alt season. I'm extremely bullish for it, and I can already see it starting. So I'm going to show you that and why you shouldn't quit either. All right. In addition to all of that, towards the end, I have a gift for you all. So without any further delay, let's get into it. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's start with Bitcoin on the 4-hourly time frame. So it's like I said yesterday, Bitcoin's in a range, but most people don't know it yet. This is typical. All right. Your bulls are going to say, all right, Bitcoin's bottomed. All right, Bitcoin's bottomed. Right? Here we go. Here we go. They're going to draw something like this, or they're going to wait for a move that signifies that Bitcoin's getting ready to go. Confusion across the board. And you'll see a lot of people have quit on alt season because they're thinking there's no way we could have an alt season if Bitcoin's actually topped here. Okay? We've addressed this in previous episodes. I'm not going to get into how that's even feasible, but keep that in mind. All right? What I said yesterday is actually what we're seeing, right? This is likely an initial break of structure, and what you're seeing here is likely the first counter, all right? The first counter or the complement wave to this. So if this is an A wave, what you're seeing is a B wave. And yesterday when we spoke, we were about here, and I said, you know what? Don't be surprised if we come back down here to make the base of this B wave. We could just as well just continue to go up, but don't be surprised if we do something like this, okay? I also, in yesterday's episode, said, although this is the range, right, as demarcated by this initial break, the top and the bottom of this initial break, do not be surprised if we get deviations up and down, right, on the top and the bottom of the range, because this is typical, right? This is one such deviation where the bears on Bitcoin will say, yeah, I shorted the top, and all of a sudden Bitcoin does this. They say, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. No, you're not wrong. It's just you have no context for what you're looking at. If you think this is just going to go like this, you're mistaken, right? As we know, before pivoting from one direction to another, you need to put in a consolidation, right? We posit on this channel that Bitcoin is preparing to make a massive dump. But before it does that, it will have to put in the requisite consolidation. This is called a distribution. It's going to be a mini distribution here. So we said way before this started, we were likely to zigzag up here for some time before going down. Furthermore, during this time is when you'll see altcoins move in a big way, because that is the last possible opportunity that altcoins have to move off of the lows. And why am I saying last possible opportunity? Why am I so confident in that? Well, it's because most altcoins are on multi-year levels of support, and the likelihood of breaking that support down is so small it's much more probable, it's much more likely that they move off of the lows first before Bitcoin comes down. This is the rationale. This has been the trade thesis for quite some time on this channel. Now, Bitcoin, nothing really special. It's just putting in its counter correction, right? If this is big A, you want to call this big A your initial break of structure. Bitcoin is in big B, okay? Now you have, that's it. Once this finishes, that's one pair of corrective patterns. You need two more before the consolidation is finished, as per Elliott wave AB basing theory. So just to give you an understanding, an idea, some perspective for what we're doing here and how long we may just hang out at these levels. And don't be overly impressed, or even like whatever Bitcoin does here is not really important. It's inconsequential because, like I said, the real trade is in altcoins, bullish altcoins specifically. And if Bitcoin makes an all-time high here, it does nothing. It means nothing technically, right? A nominal all-time high here means nothing. Bitcoin is in the restriction of this range. Please keep that in mind. All right, so that's Bitcoin. We're not going to spend too much more time talking about it. It's boring, sideways, range-bound price action. What's really interesting and what's really important and what really most people care about are altcoins. Most people care about altcoins because most of the market is comprised of altcoins, right? There's one Bitcoin and millions, and that's not an exaggeration, millions of altcoins. So chances are people are in these assets right here that you can see that have yet to do anything. They have yet to do anything. Look, this is the others chart. This is, again, my favorite chart for approximating the altcoin price action on a high time frame at this point in time. Okay? Look, for a very long time, right? Specifically here, 500 days, you've been doing this. Okay? That's a very long time of pretty much doing nothing. Look, it's, why do I say it's doing nothing? Although you've been going up and down, you've been range bound. If you go down, you go up just as much, and then you go right back down. Like, imagine staying in a trade, and this represents the price action for one asset. You're not doing anything. You're right now stuck at the midline, which means you're pretty much break even. Nothing's happened. This is the frustration people feel. They've been in their altcoins in an asset class, crypto, that has so much promise. They've put in so much hope into, and it's done nothing. It's infuriating. This is exactly why I say when you look at the Wall Street cheat sheet psychology of a market cycle, we are here. You can see it. You can feel it. It's anger depression. It's anger depression. It's sideways. Nothing. Nothing's happening. Look, this anger depression stage, it's just sideways. Sideways. Nothing's happened. This is exactly what you should be feeling. This is exactly what the market participants, the majority of market participants feel. Look, on Twitter, you can go up and down and you can feel the anger, you can feel the frustration, right? You have people talking about some random meme coins, absolutely nuking. And let me just say, as an aside, if you're in something that's absolutely nuking, and I'm not talking about a 3%, 4%, 5%, or even a 9% declension, I'm talking about this. This is a giga nuke. This is stuff that happens in something that is still in correction. You should be very careful. That's all I'll say. When I talk about altcoins, being ready for alt season, I do not mean all altcoins are categorically ready for alt season. Yes, all altcoins will experience some positive appreciation, but they will, more likely than not, those altcoins that are not bullish will go up and come down even more. Okay? Or they'll go up and come down just as much as they went up. So be extremely careful about just going into any altcoin. You have to identify the character of the market on a high time frame and determine whether or not that could be classified as a bullish altcoin or not a bullish altcoin. The bullish altcoins are going to pump. And I'm going to show you one. I'm going to make an exception. I typically don't do this because, I run a crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service where I do these things with, paid members. I'm going to show you one asset, one altcoin that is a bullish altcoin that has already started to pump. And I'm going to show you exactly what it's done and how it's done it so you can understand and gain some perspective. And I'm going to show you how long it took. So, look, people are angry. Right? Look, we will never see any kind of alt season thanks to Binance, right? What do people do when they're angry? They lash out and they typically want to direct that towards someone. Who can, who can suffer the fire of my anger, my angst? CZ. Why not? Right? This is not what you want to do as a trader. If something happened, you should take responsibility, not some outside entity. You will never make it doing that, right? So just as an aside, in any case, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with anger, frustration, just like we saw in the Psychology of Market Cycle cheat sheet. And the next move is what we call the disbelief rally. And this is what we're preparing to do. Now, on this chart, this is the others chart. Nothing's happened. And I've been showing you this for a while. And we've been stuck here. These are weekly candles, by the way. So each and every single one of these is a week's worth of price action. Nothing has happened, even though we've been abutting this 500-day resistance. But it's very clear. The next move pops up and out and not down, right? It's very clear. I've been looking at these charts for a quarter of my life almost, and I know what happens next right there. That, with a high degree of probability, is the move. In that, you will see most every altcoin that's bullish go up and hit that target. This is happening, okay? And if you look at this indicator, you look at this aggregate sort of chart, right? Takes all of the altcoins in crypto, normalizes them, puts them on one chart. That is an 80% move on this chart, which means that your altcoin may do 150%, or other altcoins may just do 50%. Right? This is an average, or maybe a median. In any case, it's not what everything's going to do. It's just a representation. So just a first move will be a big move. Now, I want to talk specifically today because, again, like I said, there's a lot of frustration and it's understandable. And it's like, well, what the hell does this look like, right? I'm tired of looking at these indicators, and I want to see an actual example of what alt season looks like. All right, today, one of my altcoins, right, that I personally track, has gone and done exactly that. And I want to show you, I'm not just going to say it pumped. No, that's not good enough. I want to show you how it pumped, why it pumped, where it's going, so on and so forth. Like I said, I do not typically do this out of respect for my clients in crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation, but I think this is helpful. One. Two, I think it's fine because that initial move has already started. I'll leave it up to you to figure out where to get back in if you want to trade this, what the next target is, so on and so forth. And also, please understand, in crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation, I track these. So if there's any deviations, there are any changes, I adjust targets dynamically. It's very important. You can't just set them and forget them and expect to be accurate. Right. We're looking at Alice, my neighbor Alice. This is something I really liked because technically it was excellent. Why am I saying it's technically excellent? So we're looking at something that has gone through all the stages of a market cycle. It has a complete life cycle where it came onto the market, it sold off. That's part of the bear market, the declension, right? This is the drawdown of the bear market. And after that drawdown, you have 1,000 days, 1,000 days of accumulation. Remember, so this is the move down, and now we're saying, all right, where's the move up? Between the move down and the move up, we understand in the theory of chart analysis that you have to put in an intermediary consolidation level, okay? Consolidation zone, consolidation period. According to Wyckoff analysis, this is called an accumulation, okay? And according to Elliott Wave AB base principles, you should be looking for 3 pairs of corrective patterns, just like I said in the beginning of the video. So I'm going to show you the 3 pairs, okay? That's my initial break right there. That sets the height of the consolidation channel, right? This is my first counter. This is my second break. This is my second counter. This is my pivot. All that took 1,000 days. When's the last time you waited for anything for 1,000 days? I've literally been waiting on this move for 1,000 days. I've been here watching it for pretty much the entire time. I was watching it up here. Perspective. It hasn't happened yet doesn't necessarily mean that it's not happening. You really have to appreciate the time it took. And now, what does this mean? 1,000 days of accumulation. Well, during this time, buyers accumulated. When we talk about accumulation, what does it mean? You're accumulating or reaccumulating buyers after a sell-off. Nobody's interested in it anymore because it sold off for damn near a year. Everybody's like, oh, that shit, it's done. It's worthless. It's down in the dumps. So the price actually continued to go down. Yet and still, people were like, maybe it's a good value. So I'm going to buy. Others like, nah. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that some people think it's a good value and sell into strength. Other people are like, no, I really think this is a good thing. This is a good project. It is worthwhile. It is, there's some hope to this. It can do something. It has value. Okay. So I'm going to invest in it. At the same, understand what these periods are. This is where the bulls and the bears fight in these consolidation zones. And the accumulation zones are pretty much where the bulls win out because your supply runs dry. And there's more people that say, you know what? This is valuable. I'm going to invest in this. More people say that than are saying, no, it's worthless. It's just another worthless crypto that's not worth the paper it's printed on or the computer screen that it's displayed on. I'm going to sell it and I regret ever going into it. Understand what that means. 1,000 days, and this little period right here we call the pivot. It's the final period of the accumulation. That in and of itself took 6 months. Again, I want to give you perspective as to what you're doing. If you've been in this space and you've been accumulating, you've been down, you've been studying, you're one of my clients, you're a client of some other, analyst. You do your own analysis and you have hopes of making it in this market and of making returns in this market, but you haven't seen anything yet. And you're like, you know what? I don't know. Honey, I think I messed up. Understand this is exactly in the psychology of a market cycle what you should be feeling. But I want to tell you, push that aside, push those doubts aside, and look at the evidence. Why you should not quit. You should not quit, not now. Because those 1,000 days of accumulation, now they experience what we call a supply shock, where again, buyers and sellers, they're dueling, and the buyers win out because the supply runs dry. And so, specific to Alice, what happened? Alt season, alt season, alt season. Where's this alt season people keep talking about? In one day, today, Alice put in a 93% candle. And it's not just a random 93% candle. Oh, Dean, yeah, a lot of things pump on any given day. This is crypto. That happens. Look, you have your falling wedge, which is a very bullish structure that I put in years ago. And in this falling wedge, you can see there's a top resistance, a bottom support, and a midline, which is resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it. My first target was the midline, and it hit exactly. So when people are like, I don't know about this guy, I don't know about, him and his channels that he keeps talking about, like, these things are useful because if that was your target, guess what? You sold the exact top. And how did you know? Was it luck? Was it a guess? It was an educated guess because you could see that you had formed a very regular, very nice falling wedge, a descending broadening wedge specifically, with a clear demarcated midline, which would likely serve as resistance as price reached it. Take you take your profit and you get back in. I'm not going to tell you exactly where, but in Elliott Wave, you should be able to identify exactly where you can get back in, and then rinse and repeat, just as the matriculation of price up and through a channel. This is what we're doing, and this is happening. This is happening. It's not some concept. It's not some nebulous idea. It is here. This is one of, I won't say many, but a few assets that have already pumped in a very structured way where you can see it. All right. Look, I'm not going to wait till the end to tell you this, but because there's so much despair in the market today, because there's so much despondency, for 24 hours, I'm going to do this one more time. For 24 hours, I'm going to offer the single asset analysis service that I offer, which is basically my analysis on any single asset, right? It could be a cryptocurrency asset. It could be a stock. It could be it could be an indicator. It could be a precious metal. It doesn't matter. It's gold, silver. I'm going to offer it one more time for 24 hours, half off. So the regular price is $120. I'm going to offer it for $60 for 24 hours. So until tomorrow around this time. All you need to do, look at the instructions in the pinned comment, but essentially you send payment through one of the 4 methods. Email me exactly what you want me to look at, and within 24 hours, you'll have your pre-recorded analysis. And if we're dealing with something like this, I will give you what I think is going on and a couple targets perhaps, right, to the upside. So this is a 24-hour flash sale for single asset analysis. Again, send payment through one of the 4 methods. Email me what you want me to look at, You should have that analysis in your inbox within 24 hours, and you can even follow up with a couple of follow-up questions. All right, so moving on. This is happening. You do not quit. The other thing I want to say, right, the perspective. But Dean, I've been in crypto for a year, for 2 years, and I haven't done shit but lose. Okay, all right. Or I got in, last year, or I got in early this year. Guess what? You got in. Let's say you got into Alice at the beginning of the year, January of 2025. Guess what? You would have already come back to break even in 1 day of price action. This is the perspective that I want you to have. You did not wait 1,000 days to make crumbs. You didn't wait 1,000 days to celebrate a 3% pump or 4% pump here, right? Oh my God, the market is melting up. It's pumping. This is what people say during bear markets, right? You don't have any perspective on what this asset class does. But you see in Alice, that first pump was 93%. What did we see just a few moments ago in others? That first pump was around 80%. So do you see how this isn't, we're just not making shit up. There's a lot of accuracy to this. There's a lot of accuracy and use to looking at an indicator like the others chart. It gives you a baseline. All right, 77, 80% is what I'm expecting, right? Some things are going to overperform, some things are going to underperform that, but that's pretty much what I'm expecting. For most of you, one move like that, which in Alice took all of, let's go on the 4-hourly time frame. That took a whole 8 hours to do. In 8 hours, you've already come back to break even if you were able to sell the top of that move. And even if you weren't, wait and let it continue to go up. But in crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation, we sell tops and buy bottoms. A priori, right? So that's the idea. Guys, this is what we're here for, not some little stuff. And you have to keep going. You have to stay focused. Don't forget why you came into crypto. All right. Last but not least, others dominance. Here's why you should not lose hope. Just like I said yesterday, you're looking at this falling wedge, and this falling wedge will break out to the upside. It's not going to go down forever. And falling wedges, they don't go down forever. They essentially almost always break up and out, right? This is what you're looking at. This is what you're expecting. If you turn on your stochastic RSI momentum indicator, you should be able to see also evidence of right here. Exactly. I didn't even know. But you see strong confirmed bullish divergence on the 4-hourly time frame. Okay, the K and D lines, so these two lines, the purple and the blue, or magenta and the blue, pink and the blue, whatever, are crossed. And here you have on the chart a lower low, and here on the indicator you have a higher low. Again, this is all probabilistic, but the probability is now even higher based off of this indicator that this is the next move you're going to see. Last but not least, because a lot of people are looking at it and saying, oh, Bitcoin dominance is pumping, Bitcoin dominance, another leg up. No, Bitcoin dominance has been range bound since September. Bitcoin dominance has been range bound since September. Let's go on the daily time frame. So you can see, we talked about Bitcoin dominance some time ago and how you came down, you retested the midline as resistance. You broke the channel, and now you're retesting the bottom of the channel as resistance. Again, this is resistance because it's a multi-year level that you broke down from. Obviously, once you break important support, you have to retest it as resistance, right? You've been at this level in Bitcoin dominance for some time now. And what did you do with this most recent move up? You didn't do much. You have not broken structure. You've maintained it. You're still stuck in this range since September. You just went to the range highs. At some point, you eventually break down from that, okay? So this is, Bitcoin dominance is a resistance, and there's even a larger resistance here. So this is not something I would be concerned about, and the idea that Bitcoin dominance is bullish is kind of ludicrous if you're actually looking at the technicals. Guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope it's useful. I understand, and it's completely normal to feel despondent. It's completely normal to feel hopeless. It's completely normal to be angry. But don't fucking lose focus, because nobody said making generational wealth, making life-changing wealth was going to be easy, but this is what you're doing. If you're here now and you're paying attention, you're pretty much on the brink, on the edge, at the precipice of one of the largest, and I can say this because we've never had an asset class like crypto, one of the largest wealth transfers in history. You think gold is impressive right now? You think silver is impressive right now? You think stocks are impressive right now? Wait till you see what we do in crypto. And you thought Bitcoin was impressive as it went from 16K to 120K? Watch what we do in altcoins. That's all. Guys, like, share, and subscribe if you got value. Consider my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service where you can trade directly with me. I tell you what's bullish, what's not. Basically, with a high degree of probability, we weed out the altcoins that you can run with, that are going to give you sustained gains in alt season and are going to be pumping during the bull market, versus the ones that aren't. And that's a very important distinction. Furthermore, we identify high probability support and resistance zones where you can snowball your profits. That is a game changer. And last but not least, my single asset analysis service, like I said earlier in the video, is for 24 hours, 50% off. So instead of $120, it's $60. Send payment through one of the 4 methods in the pinned comment. Email me, and within 24 hours, you'll have that analysis. All right, take care. I hope this was good for you, and let's go. WAGMI. All right, bye.
My prevalent time slot, I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest magnanimous. We body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I grin what's happening? Gone like the wind.